This is part two. Yeah, this is part two of the prophecy updates as of July the 27th, 2025. And it's Sunday morning because the video had cut short. The view recording, so I'm continuing on for part two, final of the prophecy updates, July the 27th, 2025, on this Sunday afternoon. Sunday morning, I'm in Slovakia. It's the book of Ecclesiasticus. It's the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 39, verse 1. It says, But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation of the Lord, seek out the wisdom of all ancient, right? And we seek of wisdom of all ancient and be occupied prophecies, right? That's the key word, occupied prophecies, as we do these prophecy updates. Now, so more than ever, measure the time diligence of occupied prophecy, seek out the wisdom of all ancient. I just want to add a side note to it. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 62. Isaiah chapter 62, verse 6. I have set watch upon thy walls, O Jerusalem. What shall never hold that peace day or night? He that make mention of your house, keep not thy silence. Right, so you're going to continue on our watch. Occupying prophecies, what's going on in the news that backs up with the scriptures. That's what we're seeing as being the watchman. Just like the prophets of old did in ancient times, now it's happening once again in modern times. Isaiah chapter 62, verse 7, and give him no rest until he stops to make Jerusalem praise the earth. Right, so we're going to give him no rest until he stops to make Jerusalem praise the earth. Which Jerusalem was that people before its place, but I just want to add a side note to that. It's the book of Joel. Joel chapter 2, verse 1. It says, Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound the alarm on holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble for the day of the Heavenly Father coming, for it's not yet hand. Right, so we see the signs of that before he makes his return. That's why he's showing these birth pains in the world today. We see these earthquakes in diverse places, famines and pestilent plagues, nation against nations and kingdom against kingdom. There's all these birth pains before he makes his return. We seeing signs that has been increasing, throughout the generations, throughout years, increasing as well too. I just want to add a side note to that. It's the book of Amos, chapter 3, and verse 6. It says, Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people be not afraid? Shall it be evil in the city, and Yahweh has not done it? Right, so that Father's bringing these wildfires, tornadoes, earthquakes, landslides, floodings, famines, pestilent plagues, etc. Just like that wildfire that been taking place over there in Turkey. It's like wildfires been taking place, these heat waves, these heavy floodings, tornadoes, landslides, famines and pestilent plagues, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. So this is what the Israelites are sounding alarm about on a daily basis when they do sit-down lessons. Go out there and teach them highways and hedges as well too. Prophecy updates now, so more than ever. Amos chapter 3, verse 7, it says, Surely Yahweh will do nothing but reveal his secrets unto his servants and prophets, right? The Israelites. Amos chapter 3, verse 8, the lion has roared, who will not fear, and Yahweh has spoken, who can but prophesy. Back to the news articles once again. It says corrupt Ukrainian cannot be trusted. Ex-Trump advised reports. Right, that goes into that St. Mark the 3rd chapter. If a kingdom be divided, except the kingdom not stand, because you got Edomites being divided against one another, which that been going on and on back and forth. So you're gonna be seeing more signs of that as I add a side note to that. It says U.S. and China clash over Russia at UN Security Council. That's typical. The nations be clashing against one another. It says, watch Russia war correspondent dies at Ukrainian suicide drone. Right, despite the fact they have a 10-hour pause of to have more military aid assistance to be dropped off, over there in the Gaza Strip. They're going through a heavy famine crisis over there in the area. Once those 10-hour pauses over with, you're still gonna have fighting increase between between the Israel Defense Force and Hamas, and the whole Iran group going against the Defense Force as well too. As I had a side note to that, and this is a news article from RT.com, published July the 26th, 2025, and reads: It says Israel has to get rid of Hamas. Trump reports Palestinian militants do not want a ceasefire and will be hunted down. The U.S. president has said. It says the U.S. President Donald Trump has said that Israel will have to drive Hamas out of Gaza as a ceasefire has once again stalls. It says the president says the Palestinian militants has not negotiated good faith and are using the remaining Israeli hostages as a leverage, he stated. And West Jerusalem must clean up and get rid of the group. Hamas didn't really want to make a deal. I think they want to die, and it's very bad. And it got to a point where you have to finish the job. So Trump told reporters on Friday before departing for a trip to Scotland. Now they're going to be hunted down, he added. Israel recalls the team in its indirect talks in Qatar earlier this week. Trump, Middle East envoy Steve Westcroft accused Hamas of showing a lack of desire to reach a ceasefire and said the U.S. considers an alternative option to free the hostages and create a more stability environment of the people of Gaza. It says Israeli officials have long insisted that their objective is to completely eliminate Hamas from the Palestinian enclave. However, the New York Times cited that 3 officials are saying that the withdrawal from negotiations did not signal a collapse of the talks. Hamas said it was surprised by withdrawal's remarks, claiming it has submitted its final response to Israel's terms. Both sides have blamed each other on the failure to reach a breakthrough since the 2-month truce expired in March. It says the UN and the aid organizations have renewed calls for Israel to allow more food and initial supplies into Gaza, describing the situation as a man-made famine in this densely populated enclaves. Israel has said it is committed to increase aid, but through the channels has bypassed Hamas, which accused hard-on food. Yeah. Amos 8 verse 11. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land. That's a preview sign. What to expect more as the days presses on. As we see in hunger crisis, famine crisis situations that we're seeing, what's been going on throughout generations and recently. So you're going to see more famines in these areas around the world. There's going to be a famine throughout the whole planet Earth. Yep, it says, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, no thirst of water, but the hearing of the words of Yahweh. Amos 8 verse 12, they shall run from sea to sea, from the north even to the east, they shall run to and fro, try to seek the words Yahweh shall find. Amos 8 verse 13, in that day shall fair virtue young man faith and thirst. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, then I'm closed out. It's the book of 2nd Ezra 16 and verse 18. Yeah, 2nd Ezra. This relates to Matthew 24 verse 2. Yeah, 2nd Ezra 16 verse 8. It says the beginning of sorrows. Right, as we see, the beginning of sorrows was only going to continue to increase. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. Right, what's happening over there in the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, Palestinian territory, and different parts around the world. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. The beginning of famines and great death. The beginning of wars. And the foul shall stand in fear. The beginning of use which like you scheme shall come. 2nd Ezra 16 verse 19, the beginning of famines and plague and tribulation and anguish. Right, Matthew 24 verse 21 and Amos 8 verse 11 verse 13. It says, behold, famine and plague and tribulation. Right, 2nd Ezra 15 verse 5. Behold, the famine and plague and tribulations and anguish are scores for the amendment. 2nd Ezra 16 verse 20, but for all these things they shall return from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. 2nd Ezra 16 verse 21. Behold, the virtuous shall be so cheap upon the earth that they think themselves being in good case. Right, 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 3. To be in good case, even then shall evils grow upon the earth, the sword, famine, and confusion. 2nd Ezra 16 verse 22. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the others shall escape the sword, destroyed. It says 2nd Ezra, go to verse 69. That was the book of 2nd Ezra 16. Yeah, 2nd Ezra 16 verse 7. Let's say this is the book of 2nd Ezra 16 verse 7. It says, for there shall be in every place in the next cities a great insurrection, right uprising. We're going to see that increasing. that's going to come to full effect. Those that fear Yahweh. Second Ezra 16 verse 71, it says they should be like madman, spirit not, but scoring those that fear Yahweh. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave it at that. So hopefully this was edifying about part one and part two of these prophecy updates as of July the 27th, 2025 on this Sunday morning. So with that, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Makakadash, and the Heavenly Father, true name is Yahweh, and his only begotten Son, Bahashem, and the name of Mashiach Kabashai. Those are the true names in ancient Paleo Hebrew, the last one time, and that's it. Rock to the elders and apostles. Well, I can to next time. Say shalom.